Hi, I'm out here right now on the canals by Indian School and 67th Street doing my project on water. This semester actually I had to be super interested in water. It's been very fascinating for me to learn the complexities of water and the challenges that we face locally, nationally, and worldwide. Water is life, and without this precious resource, humankind would just not exist. This is why water technologies, innovations, and progress is critical to creating a sustainable world for a growing population in the midst of climate change. For my final project, I'll be going into a couple interesting water innovations that will propel us into a more wet and sustainable future. I specifically looked at technologies that I think could help us around Arizona because it is near and dear to my heart and is something that is important to me. We know that our climate is changing, and we can see these changes happening in our city right now. Already hot summers are getting warmer and staying warmer for longer periods of time. We are experiencing phenomena such as the urban heat island effect, which heats up our cities and traps that heat within our cities for longer periods of time. Also, we're experiencing drought, and while drought is not uncommon to desert dwellers, we are currently in a 21-year drought. And with the changes to climate, I believe that droughts are going to last for longer periods of time and be more influential. And drought by its very nature affects our water supplies, from lack of snow runoff, reducement and the refillment of our aquifers, a reduction in our surface waters, in our groundwater, in our surface waters, in our lakes and our rivers, and all of this just ties into the water equation. When it comes to technology and innovations, I think it is a two-part problem, in which we need ideas and technology that change the paradigm of the problem that we are solving, while also being accessible, affordable, and being able to implement to actually form major changes that we could see. Sometimes the technology needs to be simple and straightforward in order to be effective and implementable. A technology that I actually think is super cool and pretty simple is rainwater collection technology and infrastructure. This technology is pretty straightforward. It is just collecting rainwater. So this is a type of infrastructure that we could put into our design philosophies in our houses and buildings. Basically, we just are creating ways and access points for the water to become trapped, and then that water that we collect and harvest, we put through a process of filtrations to make it either usable to drink or usable for other purposes. And this finally fills up a tank in which we could use this tank of water for multiple purposes. Some purposes that we could use this for is in our agriculture and landscape purposes. We could also use this gray water in our toilets. And like I stated earlier, if we do put a good enough filtration system on it, we could actually use this water to drink. And, you know, this is a sustainable practice because we are going to see it rain, and this rainwater would either otherwise be unused, we can now use for alternative purposes. I think so another technology that I'm actually super excited about and that I did a little bit of research on earlier in this class was desalinization. This is a little bit more in-depth than on the sciencey side of complexity, but basically desalinization is taking salt water which otherwise could not be used for human consumption or in agriculture, and then taking the salt out of it and making it into fresh water. This is done through a kind of complex process, which requires a lot of infrastructure and technology, and energy. So right now it's not too widely used because of that. But where I think the next innovation piece with it is coming is with solar desalinization. Now, what solar desalination does is it takes the salt water and uses the power of the sun, which we readily have available in this process. This solar desalination works by, we have a sun still where we will have the salt water in it, and by the process of heat from the sun, and with the filters within the still, it heats up the water so that the evaporated water will be trapped in this filter. And that evaporated water will actually be fresh water because the salt and the other type of debris will be left behind. And then there is a process of filtration systems that eventually gets it to where it is a usable water. I think this is a super cool technology. We do not have access to the ocean in Arizona, but we are pretty close to California and we're pretty close to Mexico, which have oceans. And I think this is a really interesting technology that's going to change the scope of how we get a renewable water source. And that is one of the things that we are going to need in the future is a renewable water source, because our fresh water is sadly running out. So we need these kind of technologies to really look at the problems and decide how we are going to solve these problems. Finally, a technology I want to talk about that we use in the Valley that I think is super useful is wastewater treatment plants. Now, what wastewater treatment plants do is take water from agriculture, industry, and municipal uses and treats that water with physical, biological, and chemical processes to make that water usable once more. According to the Department of Water, Phoenix recycles 80% of its water. And this reclaimed and reused water helps us in our water problems by reducing the rate of decline in our groundwater tables, reducing the demand for imported water, and provides a continuous and dependable supplement source of water. Also, a large portion of this water could be used in our agricultural purposes and even in our power needs. A lot of this reused water actually goes to our Palo Verde nuclear reactor plant, where it cools the nuclear reactor plant, which provides energy for us all around the valley. Also, another cool technology that I wouldn't say is innovative, but I think is fascinating, and because I'm here at the canals, I thought it's good to talk about, is canals in general. They are our water highways of Arizona, and we actually have 9 of them. And these canals transfer water all over the valley and all over the state. The big ones that people know are the Central Arizona Project, which takes water from the Colorado and delivers it to us in the valley. I just think these are super cool, so I thought I'd mention it real fast. These technologies are not an end-all be-all to our water problems, but they start amounting to the puzzle pieces to make a clearer picture in our water scarcity issues. To have a more complete view in a successful sustainability practice, I believe we have to combine the technology, conservation, and people aspect of the problem. We need to work with the general public to change the ideas on how we use this precious, finite resource. Such ideas like adapting our landscapes to better fit in with a desert environment, using less water in our households, and installing water-saving appliances. We need to increase the amount of water we conserve by using these smart water practices, storing water in our aquifers, and creating a diverse water portfolio so we can be more sustainable into the future. With these aspects, I feel like we can achieve the 3 Ps of sustainability: people, profit, and planet, to make Arizona and the world more sustainable. I was really excited just to learn more about water and how we could harness it to its fullest potential. And I think going forward, it's going to be such an important issue and for not only us as desert dwellers in Arizona, but people all over. Because water is going to be something that is going to drastically affect people all over the globe. So I think the sooner we could start implementing some of these really cool initiative and really cool technology, the closer we could get to becoming a more sustainable world. Thank you so much, and I really, really enjoyed this class.